What's going on, golf addicts? Welcome to the Sanderson Farms Championship 2023 DFS and betting preview. That's right, one show, all your DFS and betting needs tonight for the Sanderson, because right after this, we're going to record our Ryder Cup show and our Ryder Cup recap show. Pat, good evening. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Beautiful.
Recovering a little from our member guest weekend, which we'll get into as well, I'm sure later on. But I'm feeling good. Having a little drink here, so shouldn't be. I shouldn't be, but I am having one anyway.
It's funny you say that. I am not. I could not. I don't know. I just couldn't. I'm still in like rehydration mode. So
Yeah.
So we're there. But we're going to talk about the member guests a little bit at the end of the Ryder Cup recap show. But tonight, this show, DFS betting preview for the Sanderson. I hope you haven't eaten anything, people. If you've eaten anything heavy or even a little bit of gastrointestinal issues at the moment, you probably don't need to open up DraftKings, open up the sports book, and look at the field, because Emiliano Grillo is the highest ranked player in the field. It's a sad state of affairs, but we're still going to do it. We're still going to grind it out. I've had a good first look conversation with the Nut Hut fam this morning, the Discord family this morning, about some early clicks. I will say, changed my mind on a couple names. I've come around on a couple. I'm ditching a couple that I talked about this morning. But we're going to start off with the betting stuff. Then we're going to get into the DraftKings stuff at the end. I'm going to give you our favorite outright picks, our top 26 pack, and cover each pricing tier on DraftKings for DFS purposes. And there's something I want to go over with that in the beginning. Remind me, Pat, make sure I don't forget it. A little historical relevance for Sanderson Farms, as well as a new twist this fall that I think is really going to matter for DFS. So, as always, we are presented to you by our friends at Leaderboard. Pumped to have Leaderboard on board with the Tour Junkies, and you would be too if you download the app. It's free in iOS and Android stores right now. The link is in the description of this podcast. Check it out. It is your one-stop shop for things like putting in your own scores and keeping track of your own stats, some nice stats that I'm sure you're probably not keeping on your own game. Leaderboard makes it super easy, very fast to put it in. Literally, it would take less than 10 seconds a hole, probably around 5 seconds as soon as you finish a hole to put that data in. Leaderboard saves it and then sends it all to the USGA for your gen records, if you like. And there's a social element to it as well. You can make fun of your friends. You can post pictures. You can have the social feed, follow people, join the Tour Junkies group. Do that. You're going to want to make sure you do that, as we like to see everybody's scorecards automatically post in the Discord with the Leaderboard Discord bot. So check out our friends at Leaderboard. Let's get into this, Pat. Sanderson Farms, been here 10 years, Country Club at Jackson. We know what's up, right? It's kind of another run-of-the-mill birdie fest in the fall. Bermuda lovers love this place. Good putters and poor ball strikers have won. Good ball strikers and poor putters have won. It's a grab bag, mixed bag of winners at the Sanderson Farms Championship. And like I said, super weak field. I guess Grillo being the top ranked, but of course Ludwig Aberg, who is, and I refuse to say, I
was about to say, wait a second. We learned that his name is said differently.
Is what? What is it?
It's Aberg.
But see, I don't even think that's what he said. I don't even think that's how he said it.
I don't know, but that's
is that more accurate than Aberg? Yes, but I'm not going to get it right anyway. So I'm just going to say Aberg, because I think too, for the Americans listening, which is mostly who we have, if I'm like Aberg, they're going to be like, is he talking about Lucas Herbert? If I just say his last name, you know what I mean? And the last thing anyone needs to do is confuse Ludwig Aberg for Lucas Herbert, whatever. He's the worst, and Ludwig is a star. So anyway, it may be very American of me, but it's how I'm doing it. So Ludwig Aberg is your betting favorite at around 10-1, which is kind of insane. The kid is having a meteoric rise. And then you've got guys
ranked higher than Grillo.
He's not right now. No, I mean he hasn't had enough time to accrue world golf rankings, dude. He was. I mean, he just popped his first pimple like 6 months ago.
I think we should just go ahead and put him. If we can just claim how we're going to say his last name, let's just claim him to be ahead of Grillo in the rankings. I'm going to put him at 20. Go ahead and just say he's top 20 in the world. Just because I want to.
I mean, that's quite the crowning for me. I mean, I think the kid is super talented. He may be the next Victor Hovland or better, but we've not even seen him play in a major yet, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
So I don't
Seen
know.
him play in a Ryder Cup though.
Yeah, he's probably he probably is truly better than 80, but I don't know that I'd put him at 20. That's just me. You got Ludwig, you got Jaeger, Eric Cole, Grillo. Those are your top four. Keith Mitchell. Top 4 or 5 in the outright markets. It's been interesting. I've seen a little bit of movement, but a lot of it's also kind of stayed the same. Jaeger's shortened a little bit, which is weird. Eric Cole. For me, it's Eric Cole and it's Emiliano Grillo. We got to get through these kind of quick because we got 2 shows. We don't want to do this, be here all night. So for me, it's Cole at 20-1 on DraftKings is the best number I found, and it's Emiliano Grillo at 25-1 on DraftKings as well. What can you say about Eric Cole other than the guy's been extremely consistent? He's had a fantastic year. I don't worry about spraying the driver as much as I believe you can, and it's been proven that you can play this place quite well, spraying the driver. It's very similar to Napa to me. This course isn't much different. Finished 4th in Napa. Grillo would be your course horse. He's got a little better course history, and he's playing really, really well. We last saw him, though, at the Tour Championship. So that's kind of one question mark for Grillo, but I went back and looked over the last 4 or 5 years. Grillo usually has a solid finish in his first event back. I mean, it's not that he's won, but obviously he hasn't won very much at all, twice. But he's not one of these guys at his first event from a fall break or summer break. He doesn't come back like super flat like a lot of guys do. So those 2 at the top for me, and that will be it. I love this middle section.
Yeah, I did too. I couldn't stop writing down names in the middle section, but I do like Eric Cole. I'm with you there, up to 25-1. He's at 20-1. I like Jaeger. I think I'm going to bet Jaeger at 22-1. I know I just shat on him a little bit at the Fortinet, and where he was. I think I like Jaeger this week. If you look at the stats for him when you kind of break it down, they look really good.
Stats are great
for this course. And, he's been solid.
Yeah.
Disappointing 45th at the Fortinet.
Yeah.
Had a couple top 25s before that. A relatively average course history here, but I think I'm going to go ahead and just back Jaeger. Somebody knows something about Jaeger, and I want to be on the right side of history with this. Okay. So I'm just going to bet him at 22-1.
It seems like, everything is definitely clicking for him. The putter is the thing not clicking for him. And it does seem like if that can snap into place, Jaeger will be up in the conversation. It is alarming, though, that his last top five finish on the PGA Tour was in July of 2022. I just, and it does feel like he may be taking a step into like a potential level up situation for Stefan Jaeger. So, I mean, you could write that off a little bit, but
wait, his last what?
His last top 5 was July of 2020.
Oh, top 5. Yeah. Okay.
So like just, being in it and being close to that, we're talking outrights here at 18-1. That was yeah. I think we'll talk about him in DraftKings, but I'm passing here. Anybody else in this range for you?
No, that's pretty much it for me.
All right, let's keep it moving. Now, this mid-range, I absolutely love. I might even, I don't know, man. DB's Big Balls betting card, now allows me to have somebody like Eric Cole on the card at 20-1, as long as he doesn't shorten. But
by the way,
yeah,
we haven't done a show since Fortinet, right? I mean, other than the Ryder Cup.
Correct. Oh, your Sahith victory lap.
I hit Sahith, and I'm now up units again.
Just units falling all over your, insert what's the gif of the guy looking up or the girl and just the hot dogs falling all over her face. That's you in units.
Yeah. Just units.
Mm-hmm.
Hit me all over the face.
Units in the face. Good
Anyway,
for you.
That was good. I was happy to hit Sahith. We didn't get Sahith. I feel like we didn't give him enough credit because, he didn't.
Well, we both liked him on the show. We both talked about it.
I mean, like afterwards, because
everybody's
to Ryder Cup.
Yeah. I mean, also, boy, is it just me or is the Ryder Cup coverage both pre and post? The wrong show for that.
I want to get into that.
We got to
get into that. That's a big point of some things I need to talk about.
we got to move. Give me your guys in the mid range. Who are some of your favorites? I got a bunch. I'm going to try to narrow it down. Maybe if you talk about them, I'll just echo and then move on.
All right, I got a few in here. For one, I feel like this is buying into a little hype this week, but I'm gonna buy into the SH Kim hype. I'm gonna buy into some of that hype. Okay, 34-1, 33-1. I'm kind of
selling.
feeling it.
I'm selling him high right now.
Had that second place finish back at the Fortinet. So I do like some SH Kim. And from a stat standpoint, also similar to Jaeger, looks really good. Other than I would say his approach numbers don't look very good. But he's played well recently. So and he's got a pretty good tournament history here. Well, he finished top. He was T13 in 2023. SH Kim. Doug Gim.
He also played good on that Sunday at the Fortinet. I will give him that. He played
Yeah.
nicely at this Sunday.
Doug Gim is popping for me a little bit. He's at 45-1. I like Svensson. Damn it. At 45-1.
Same.
I like Sam Ryder at 50-1.
Same.
Really love Hodges at 50-1.
Same.
And by the way, he is one where I've seen the most discrepancy on odds. Like I've seen him as short as I think he's 35-1. Where is he? Where's Hodges? Yeah, he's 33-1 on PointsBet, but he's 50-1 on DK and 40-1 on BetMGM. So Hodges has a little go ahead and get him on DK if you like him.
Yeah.
And then Alex Smalley at 40-1.
Dude, I mean, you literally name everybody but SH Kim. I have written down here. I think Doug Gim is one of my favorites out of the ones you mentioned. I'm a big believer in Alex Smalley. I think in terms of upside and ceiling, I think Alex Smalley may have as high a ceiling as just about anyone in the field. He also may be terrible. And we didn't get to see him at the Fortinet, but he could also have a really bad week. But I think given his ball striking ability, his iron play, his green and regulation numbers over the long term, I think Smalley is one of the highest upside guys. Pat, can I say that I think I'm going to bet on Bo Hostler?
No, you can't do that. Nope.
Yeah. I think I am. I think I'm going to do it. Only because in the last few tournaments, we've at least seen Bo pop more than he's not popped in the iron department. And that's been the problem with old Bo. The irons are trending in the right direction. Obviously over his career, they're way better because he's been absolute garbage over his career. But last 20 rounds, 1.1 strokes. Last 10, losing 1.1. Last 10, losing 0.8. Last 5, losing 0.1. I just think something could be trending in the right direction for the irons. And if he can close that loop, if he can close that ring on his Apple Watch, like, hey, stop being shitty with your irons, ding dong. Like that would lead to great things for Bo Hostler, I think. Good putter, good short game, hits it plenty far. He can miss some fairways, he can spray it, but you can get away with that out here. And you know what else? He's got our boy Dean Emerson on the bag this week, filling in. Now, that could go down in the negative column because Bo doesn't have his normal guy, but Dean and his normal guy have a good relationship. Dean and Bo are cool. This is just a one-time fill-in thing, but we see that sometimes, right? We see it sometimes. Somebody just fills in, and all of a sudden now it's happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If Hostler wins,
if I hit Hostler before you hit Hostler,
will you be done though with Hostler forever? Will you just give him his win and never talk about him ever again?
Maybe. Just the one time I did it, he won, and then I just ride off into the sunset.
Yeah.
I really do kind of like him. 40-1 on DK.
By the way, people in chat talking about my internet connection. We'll take this offline, okay? It's a very technical. Of all the technical difficulties I've had, this one is very technical. I can't even I would have to send you screenshots that I've tried to get to figure out why just running a cable and hooking it up to the internet does not work on my computer.
We need like Pat's technical support channel in the Discord so that
Yeah.
Pat anything
We
technical
had that.
support
We had
and
that, but then it got taken away when we condensed it.
we have too many channels.
Yeah.
It's wishful thinking. Okay, I have one name that I just want another one that I just kind of want to get weird on and just toss it out there. I'm just gonna toss it out. Just see what you think. And he's in this range. He's at 55 to 1 on BetMGM. And he's actually got a runner-up finish at this golf course. This golf tournament. Luke List.
Oh my goodness.
He's got a runner-up finish, a 28th, a 17th here. He loves this place. He comes here frequently. And look at old Lukey Dookie. At least in his last few tournaments, he's spread them out a bunch. Look at him gaining strokes putting, like being neutral here, putting. Bombers can win here. Good iron play. You know, get on the green in regulation. Do your thing. I think it's interesting. I trust
He's
him.
at 55 to 1.
He's at 55. I trust him in contention. I don't want to watch it. I would watch it like this. Just because you know, him putting. Thankfully, when he won, he was going up against Will Zalatoris at Torrey Pines, and both of them is just like who could putt it worse. So I mean, you know, I don't want to watch him if he's having to run down Bo Hostler or somebody who can putt. But if it's not, I could see Luke getting it done. So those are just a couple more names in this range. But I love this like 40 to 70 range that I am probably.
I think if you have a U at the end of your name, you have a really good chance at winning this.
Also, that I like Dylan Wu. He's my favorite
Yeah.
U at the end of the name guy.
Yeah.
Is D Wu. We got to keep riding that, right? Like he's playing too good.
Yeah, I agree.
He's not seeing the super high finish, like top 5 finishes yet, but I think it could be coming, and one or two things go his way, and he's holding the trophy. All right. Speaking of one or two things going your way, it could easily go your way because I'm going to let you know a little secret. There are less than around 400 or so, maybe, people who are eligible to win the contest that I'm about to reference with our friends at SoBet, where you and a guest are going to be treated to a special day with me and Pat in the flesh in Augusta, Georgia, that first full spring week of April on a Tuesday. Yeah. Very special time. You and a guest treated to that, courtesy of our friends at SoBet. So you tell me, this is going to be as good a chance as you could ever have to get this opportunity. We're going to drink, we're going to eat, we're going to watch some golf. It's going to be a great time. And all you have to do is sign up for SoBet. If you've already signed up for SoBet, you're already entered, you're already in, and the drawing is taking place in less than 28 days. Mm-hmm. 28 days from now, we'll be doing the drawing. Okay. You're going to want to make that happen. Link is in the description. When you click the link, it'll pre-fill the code TJ. You'll go through there, pick what you want to do. And then at the end, at the checkout, if you want to try a free trial, you can do TJ trial in that box. And get a free first month of SoBet. But listen, people are winning on SoBet. People are winning a bunch of money on SoBet. Our SoBet Saturdays have been fantastic in the Nut Hut. My boy Gutsy crushed it this week. I think he went 5-0. Somebody tell me, right? Or I think he won like almost all of his favorite bets. Somebody tell me. But anyway, SoBet, where it's at. If you're betting in any capacity, props, outright bet, any sort of, if you're in a legal betting state. And even if you're not a legal betting state, that's why I say the props thing is there. You can totally take advantage of the incredible information at SoBet and all the good handicappers. In fact, I put up some exclusive SoBet bets for the Ryder Cup and easily cashed nearly 3 units on the bets. It was that easy. Bing bong. Done. So anyway, check it out. Link in the description. All you got to do is sign up and you're entered into that contest and be paying attention at the end of the month when we make that drawing. You and a buddy could be coming here to hang out with me and Pat. Listen, tell your buddy, click the link. Let's just agree to bring each other. And whoever wins, we have to bring each other. Now you've just doubled your chances. Right?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. Beyond that 75 to 1 range, I have 2 names. That's it. That's it. I don't like any other names to win, at least as of now. I've thought about him. I've rolled a couple around in my brain. I've tried, but there's only 2 that I like. And it's Grayson Sigg at 90 to 1 on PointsBet who's playing really, really consistent golf right now, playing well, good in that mid to short iron range, loves Bermuda. I like G-Sig at 90 to 1. And then it's Carson Young at 110 to 1. Both of these guys are on points bet. Carson continues to play well. I could see one of those two guys, first timers, lifting the trophy, the chicken trophy. I could see it happening in my mind's eye. That's about as long as I'm going.
Okay. Well, I'm with you on Carson Young. I actually had him written down too. And I kind of like Matthew Naismith. I think Naismith could have a good week as well. I mean, he is always one of those players that's, it's up and down. There's never a lot of consistency to his game. But this does feel like a good course fit for him. So I think Naismith at 110 to 1 is also one that we need to be looking at.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not believing in Naismith just yet, but I'd love to see him bring it back around. Top 20s, 2 locks, 1 bomb, top 20s. I'll start. I'm going Eric Cole at plus 115. It just feels like as much of a lock as it could be. As good as the guy's already played at Fortinet and all year. I think Eric Cole's, I'm a believer. And then I'm going to say Bo Hostler. At plus 190. I don't know why. I am very confident in Bo this week for the first time in my life ever.
Okay.
He will. It could be my first ride on the Bo carousel of emotions. This
he'll buck you off.
We'll see. All right. What about your 2 locks?
Well, I do like Eric Cole, like you do, but I'm gonna go with Griot at plus 130. I like that a lot, and then I'll go with Hodges at plus 190.
I like the Hodges call a lot too. He's playing great. I agree with you on Hodges.
Yeah.
All right. What about a bomb?
Okay. God, what do we have to be again? Over? I can't remember what we used to do for
4 to 1. I'll give you
4 to 1. I'll go with Robbie Shelton plus 400. I just can't stop. I can't stop with Robbie.
Dude.
He had a top 20 in his last start.
I know. I've quit Robbie for now. I am very open to being pulled back in, but I have stopped for now. So good luck on that.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck on that. I'm gonna give the people an absolute nuclear bomb. And I've given it before. I think he's hit at least once for us. He's come close. But Jason Duffner is 8 to 1.
Man, you keep doing Duffner.
Look at him. Look at his last 5 tournaments. 19th, Fortinet, 19th. That's in the top 20. Probably dead heat stuff, but it's still there.
He tied with Robbie Shelton.
And he gained 3.2 strokes putting. Look at his putting since the John Deere. John Deere, he gained 1.8. Barbasol 1. 3M 2.2. Looked like his old self again for the 2 rounds at the Wyndham. Lost 3.5. Fortinet got it right back, gained 3.2. Like Jason Duffner finding anything with the putter is, I'm not saying the guy's going to win. He's not going to be like world beaters, but in a field like this, if he gains a stroke on the putting greens, 2 strokes would be insane. Then his floor is pretty high. Like the dude doesn't make a ton of mistakes from a ball striking standpoint, especially on a course that you don't have to hit it 350 yards. You know what I mean? 8 to 1? 8 to 1, Pat.
I still feel better about Shelton.
Shelton just okay. All right. So you went Shelton. What was his number again?
4 to 1.
Okay.
Griot at plus 130. Hodges plus 190.
Griot, Cole.
Now those are all DK. I don't know if you could look at and find. I didn't look at other books, so you might be able to see.
Yeah, they've all been slow. Okay. I would say Carson Young would be my honorable mention there. We don't do an honorable mention, but I would do one at plus 360 for Carson Young. So there's that. All right. Any other thoughts on the betting stuff? That's probably it. We covered it. I just love the middle.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about the DFS deal. And this is why at the same time we look at, and I talked about this a little bit this morning, but I'm going to give you some data here. I talked about it a little bit this morning on the First Look show.
Did you say data or beta?
Data.
Okay. Good. All right.
No, the beta comes in the
Don't give me a little beta.
Beta comes in the Ryder Cup show. Is that with the way this fall is, this transitional fall that we're having, with not the best players, some of the best players, with not the Corn Ferry Tour injections, like the overall depth of these fields are going to be much worse, I think. And so much so that even though I think there's obviously a ton of variance to these events, I just think what used to be considered a bomb or we would get excited about long shot season. Remember, Pat? Remember the glory days of long shot season 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, when you could have a guy like Hudson Swafford or Matt Jones. And I know those names sound stupid, but those are names that we hit at 150, 250 to 1. You could have guys like that win some of these tournaments because there's a little more depth, but those guys were also still good, really damn good golfers. And some of these people in these fields, I'm not sure they are. I'm just not sure that they are. And so it's tough to, like, if I start holding my nose and clicking outright bets here or plays on DraftKings in the 6K range, it just gets hard. I think it's going to be harder this fall to go real deep into the depths, So I think I'm preaching to myself here. I think we got to kind of like, we got to kind of get our eyes checked and go to the optometrist and get the little flippy thing where you do 1 or 2 or 2 or 3 or 3 or 4 or whatever, and you say which one you like better. We have to adjust our vision in terms of what do we see as long shot season, who can actually win these tournaments. And there's some dog shit guys in the bottom of this field. And so when you start looking at the 200 to 1, the 150 to 1 range, this 6K range in DFS, it's tough. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you're right. I think you do have to adjust it a little bit. It's when was the last time we saw a winner over 100 to 1?
Well, Lucas Glover was probably the closest thing at 90. That's the last I can remember. And I have a terrible memory, so I'm doing good to pull that one.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any that I can
think
Svensson
was a over 100. I'm sure there was one in 2023. Svensson was
Lee
Hodges. Was Lee Hodges over 100 to 1?
No.
God. Really?
I can't believe I didn't have Hodges the week he won. That really pissed me off.
Are you sure he wasn't over 100 to 1?
Maybe he was.
Somebody look that up for us. All right.
Yeah.
This is what I want to talk about with DFS, and this ties in. So I want to do a quick recap on where is it? Okay, on the Fortinet, right? Which I wrote. I'm doing this every week in the Nut Hut on the research thread. I'm going in and I'm looking at the last couple years DFS kind of postmortems for those tournaments over the last couple of years in terms of like lineup construction, perfect lineup, how much money they spent, total ownership, what did the chalk do, what top scorers, where did they come from, all those kind of things, right? And trying to help us understand what success in terms of DFS lineup construction has looked like. Well, I remember before the Fortinet a couple of weeks ago when I did all that postmortem research on the 2022, 2021 Fortinet. Now I realize it's not the biggest sample size in the world, but it looked a lot different than it ended up looking this year. What I mean by that is the last couple of years Fortinet before this one was kind of wild west. It was like you could spend a little less. You didn't people weren't blowing their full salary caps in terms of like what a perfect lineup would look like. There was a lot less chalk that hit. There was a lot more chalk that ended up bombing. Lineup construction was kind of, pretty studs and duds or consistent at least. I don't have it in front of me. But then what this Fortinet ended up looking like was very opposite. It was a lot of chalk hitting. It was a lot of the higher price guys doing better than they have done in the Fortinet in years past. It was, a lot less 6K players in optimal lineups or perfect lineups or whatever. And I think I'm telling you that because I think that is what we're going to see in fields like this for the exact reason that I'm talking about. And it's pertinent because when I looked at past Sanderson Championships, it's been very similar to past Fortinets before before this most recent one. Like, for example, your 2 perfect lineups over the last 2 Sandersons would have spent $46,000 of their salary cap space and $43,000 in 2021. $43,000 out of $50,000. Go make a $43,000 lineup this year and tell me what your lineup looks like, because you're going to want to punch yourself in the face. It's ugly. In previous Sandersons, in the last 2 Sandersons, of the 20 highest DraftKings point scorers over the last 2 Sanderson Farms, only 3 of them were owned at 15% or more. So you were fine to kind of avoid chalk. Maybe pick a guy or 2, avoid the chalk and pivot. Only 2 of those 3 were in the 9K range. Sorry, all 3 were in the 9K and above range. But a lot of the 9K and above range whiffed. And then what did we see at the Fortinet? We saw a lot of the 9K and 10K range play fine, play solid. There weren't as many miscuts. There were some upside plays there. I just think that this is pointing us to things are just going to look different with the weak field.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think they're going to look a lot different. And we're going to see that a lot more, not just this week, not just Fortinet, but the rest of this fall.
Yeah, I think you have to accept that there is variance here, and that's something we're going to embrace. But at the end of the day, like you're probably going to have to eat more chalk in DFS than you have in Sanderson Chicken Championships of the past, because the field is just not there. Right. I think in general, we're seeing that too in DFS in general, is like chalk hits at a higher rate now than it did in 2020, probably 2018, and probably damn sure 2015 when we started, and nobody knew what the heck they were doing and nobody had all the data. So I just think that's something to pay attention to. We want to find pivots for sure, but we can't avoid all the chalk in this lineup construction stuff. I don't know. I hope that was.
I think there's a tendency to always have a mindset of trying to avoid that chalk, and you just kind of have to, I think, change that a little bit to saying, okay, well, especially in fields like this, I'm going to have to eat some of this chalk. Who are my favorite guys? When I'm looking at, be a little disciplined about how you're setting your pool. Who your favorite chalk guys, play them.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the fact that they could underperform. Just play them, and then sprinkle in the pivots and the low owned guys in there with it that you like. So
yeah, I mean, we may have to embrace some guys at super high ownership if we just know that they're just the best options of this field, right? And I'm saying all that also realizing that there's not as much that separates an Eric Cole from an Alex Smalley. Whereas, typically in a regular strength field event, maybe a guy at 10-3 or the 3rd highest priced player in the field versus the guy at 8,900, there might be a little bit more of a gap. But I think it's more about understanding the 7K and 6K options. Like, I don't want to build a lineup that requires me to have, or I don't want to have a player pool that requires me to have a whole lot of low 7 and 6K players. Yeah, I just don't. So, all right, let's get into that. Also, want to remind everybody we are doing some NFL listener leagues and some PGA weekly listener leagues that are open to everybody, not just the Discord, not just the Nut Hut. And the link is in the description below. You can just click on this. It's the Splash contest. So we do an NFL league every week. And by the way, Pat, I don't know if you saw, but I mixed it up this week. I just want to try a couple different formats, since there's some different formats on Splash. We've done the NFL tiers where you just pick a player out of each tier, which, by the way, you and I have been crushing it. So good. Congrats to us. Although I think you just missed the cash this week, and I
think I barely missed cashing,
and I'm cashing, but you won last week, and then I cashed last week. So, I mean, you guys clearly just suck at NFL, but we're going to do a weekly NFL contest through the end of the year. And we're also doing a weekly PGA contest. Oh, I was going to tell you, I changed up the NFL contest this week just to see what everybody likes. If people complain, we'll move it. But I made it the pick'em. So you literally just pick every game from Sunday and Monday. You're just picking score. You're just picking who wins.
Okay.
And
I like trying the different,
Yeah.
different things that they have to offer.
Yeah. So
So
the contests are $5 an entry, 2 max entries, only 50 in each contest. Like I said, and so when it fills is full, we'd love to fill it. So check it out. All you gotta do is click the link. If you and if you don't have an account, whenever you click the link, that'll take you to do whatever you got to do. And you'll see our commissioner page. We are commissioners on Splash. So you'll see our commissioner page, and on that page, you'll always find whatever live contest we are running. So check that out. All right. That's the I hope that made sense, the whole DFS thing. I don't know. Maybe I poorly communicated it, but and maybe it's, I'm not the sharpest tool in the box, but I feel like even though the sample size is small, it's something to pay attention to given the strength of field here. All right, 9K and above range. With that being said, we got to narrow it down. I mean, a lot of these guys we talked about as some of our favorite bets. And what will help us narrow it down is obviously ownership. Big question for me is, what are people doing with Ludwig Aber? Blah, 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 blah. What are people going to do? You already had Nikolai Højgaard, who was scheduled to play in this event. He WD'd. I can't imagine. I mean, again, I'm about to be 40, but I can't imagine partying like it appears the European Ryder Cup team did. And we know that from years past, they do it quite well. And then after all he's already done, from the PGA Tour schedule to playing in 2 events on the DP World Tour, including winning a DP World Tour event, including almost winning another DP World Tour event, including playing in the Ryder Cup as a rookie, four matches, and that whole thing, and then flying back over to Jackson, Mississippi. I don't know. He is 100% a stay away in the outright market. He is not a stay away in DFS if people are going to overlook him, but I doubt people are going to overlook him. But I don't see I don't see a top priced 10-9 kind of week out of Ludwig.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's a stay away. I'm never a huge narrative guy anyway, and I mean, how much do you think he partied? Was he in a lot of partying pictures and videos?
He was on the bus. I'm sure he was on the bus. I don't understand. He's 22 in Rome. Why would you not I would just chill. Just take a breath, Ludwig. I mean, he's a robot, dude. He's a freaking robot. So, I mean, that being said, he may come out and just beat everybody like crazy.
Well, then again, too, when you're looking at putting your lineups together, I mean, it does make it very hard to make it look like you were saying earlier, not having to dip into the low 7K range a good bit. So, I think, I think he's going to be chalky for sure.
You do, because I think most touts and podcasts and articles are going to obviously bring up the same thing that we just said. Like that is the dumb, obvious question in the room with Ludwig is how does that hangover affect him?
I still think he's going to be chalky though.
Man. Okay. I don't know.
I mean, I bet he's like 20.
Yeah.
21, 22% owned.
People love him, that's for sure. Well, so and I messed around with building a lineup with a guy in the 10K and a guy in the 9K. It is doable. I'm not saying that I won't have any players in my player pool from the 6K range. I have names in the 6K range I'm willing to play. What I'm saying is I don't want many of them, and the few that I have, I don't want them eating up a whole. I'm going to be even more careful than regular weeks to make sure I'm not too overweight on the 6K range in general. But it is possible. I mean, I built a couple of one guy in the 10, one in the 9, jump down. I did it. I don't know. We'll see what Ludwig says. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to click the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and drop a comment. What do you think people are going to do with Ludwig? Are they just going to talk about how scared they are of playing Ludwig with the hangover? Because, I mean, if you're playing him at 10-9, as sexy as it feels to click his name, you need him to, minimum, you need him to, top 5 in DK point scoring. But then even if he does that and he doesn't win, what is he costing you, like you said, in terms of what you have to do with the rest of your lineup? And is that going to be worth it with the hangover?
Well, we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, there's not really a lot of people in here that I'm avoiding completely, with the exception of Keith Mitchell and Lucas Herbert. I mean, and listen, I went all in on Lucas Herbert being a just an absolute. I don't understand him at all for the Fortinet. And what did he do? He came out and was the first round leader on the Fortinet. And I had all these people wanting. And I even posted the video of. I posted the clip because one of my resolutions was Ben wanted me to admit when I was wrong. So I posted the clip on Twitter and said for all you people who love watching me take L's, I did it. And then what happened? Do you remember what happened?
Well, from what I recall, he didn't really.
He flamed the hell out.
Yeah, he finished
He finished
T30.
T30, which is exactly like that. That is a microcosm week of what Lucas Herbert is. He's like,
It's also a microcosm of what golf is. Like, we get so, either bent out of shape on Thursday
yes,
or ecstatic on Thursday. It's the opposite on it's either or, and that can happen. He goes to T30, or a guy barely makes a cut, ends up top 5, top 10.
it was so
So
satisfying to watch him just disappear off the leaderboard after round one, and everybody.
yeah.
It was so satisfying. So I don't understand him. Keith Mitchell, long term, big time, zoomed out. He could be easily one of the top players in this field, if not the top player in this field. But he has not looked great outside of the 3M to me. He plays tough golf courses well. He loves tough golf courses. The U.S. Open finish was solid, Genesis Riviera, but I just don't. I'm not buying the volatility with Keith Mitchell. He's never made a cut here. He hasn't been here since 2021. Those are the fades for me. I'm not crazy about SH. I mentioned that in the betting portion, although I would possibly play him if people avoided him. But other than that, like I like everybody else in here. It's just kind of a matter of construction and ownership.
Yeah, for me, I don't really have any like true, just absolute conviction I want to fade.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Keith Mitchell's probably the one.
You don't want to play Herbert though either.
I don't think I want to play
Yeah,
Herbert either.
yeah. Friends don't let.
It's like
I wouldn't.
we're good. We're friends.
Yeah.
We can't let each other do that to each other. Yeah.
In terms of cash, Doug Gim is my cash play at 91.
Yeah, that's who I've got written down. Doug Gim.
I mean, Gim's hitting it real solid, dude. Real solid.
Yeah.
He could finally have one of those again, like real peak weeks and good finishes here. I like him a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
But we got to be prepared because like Doug Gim could be projected at like 25% ownership.
He could be, but that's the one. That's we talked about it earlier. You're going to have some guys that you wouldn't normally think are gonna be chalky, but they are going to be in a field like this. Gim's a guy that I'll eat the chalk on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Jaeger's going to be that chalky. I'm still
Really?
I talked about him as a bet. I think I want to play him in DFS too. It's not a huge savings, but it's $500 off of Oberg.
Yes.
So I like Jaeger in DFS.
I was looking for Jaeger. So I think Jaeger's way more of an option for me in DFS than he is in the outright market, for sure. Okay. Moving on to the next range, the 8K range. I want to talk about Alex Smalley. You mentioned him in the betting show. We kind of glossed over him. Said I agreed with him. I said he was. I felt like he was a pretty talented player. I think Alex Smalley gives you as good of winning potential upside. If we're looking at a guy who's trying to notch their first victory on the PGA Tour, there's a lot of guys above him that haven't done it, like Doug Gim, Bo Hostler, S.H. Kim, Eric Cole, Stefan Jaeger, Ludwig Aberg, although he did win on the DP World Tour. Like I don't know that Smalley is. I think his ceiling is almost as good as everyone on that list. Maybe not as good as a full 100% rested, not coming over from Rome, Ludwig Aberg, but I mean, I would put his upside up there with Cole, probably higher.
Heck, yeah.
Jaeger for sure. Jaeger's proved nothing in terms of the upside. We just talked about that. Gim and Hosser for sure. It's just he also may not even show up and look like he can't hit a golf ball today.
You're talking about Obear?
Smalley.
Oh, Smalley.
Are you in the chat again? Are you just eyeballing?
No, I was confused as to why you were saying that Obear may show up and act like, or Smalley. Like, how would you say that Smalley wouldn't be would?
No, I was saying, see, you don't listen. I was saying that I think his upside is as good as all those players, except for like peak Ludwig, not when he's showing up off of all that
Yeah,
he's
okay.
done, right? Like, I don't believe his upside is as good as what we've seen out of Ludwig Aberg already. When he's 100% Ludwig Aberg, not when he's coming back from Rome. Also, my early lean for an easy little double up card on Underdog, and dishing out double up cards on Underdog for the Ryder Cup. Hit that nice one on Friday. Just trying to give the people quick double ups. But Eric Cole higher than 4.5 birdies, and Alex Smalley, they have him at 70, shooting a 70 on round one. This is a par 72, all your par fives, like go get it, make it happen, score 19.5 under average winning score. If we get an average or slightly above average Alex Smalley, him shooting 3 under or better, I definitely see in the cards. If you want a little bit of that action, click on the link below. If you've not signed up for Underdog right now, I believe for another 2 days or maybe 3 days, I think it's October 4th. If you use code Junkies and the link in the description, you get a 100% deposit match up to $500. It's always been $100. They're doing $500 for just another, I literally think it's like 48 hours. So, yeah, there you go. I love Smalley.
Yeah. He's really the only one in this AK range at the top that I really like going to. And then I've pretty much dropped down to Sam Ryder, Hodges.
This is where I think I'm gonna. This is where I'm thinking I pivot. I like this range a lot for some good pivots. Now I love Hodges. I agree with you. We talked about him, but I wonder if people will hop on KH Lee after a good finish at the Fortinet, after a just horrible summer. I mean, awful summer. But for him to come out at the Fortinet and gain 7.9 strokes ball striking, which is the best he's done since May at the course that's damn near named after him at the Byron Nelson. Like maybe he had a little break and a little lesson or two after his last miscut on August 6th. And by the time he finished the Fortinet, he was looking pretty good. I might be interested in hopping back in on KH Lee if he's low owned. I kind of have my eyeballs on Ben Griffin right now too. Finding it a little bit. Bermuda, early part of the year last year is when he thrived. So I'm in on that. A player that I talked about this morning that I thought I liked that I don't like anymore is Tom Hoagie, Pat. Talked about him a little bit on the First Look show. Was kind of looking at him as an outright. The more I dug, the less I liked about Tom Hoagie.
Yeah, I mean, I think Hoagie is just one of those that you always feel safe playing him, but I feel like he could be a good pivot candidate. When I looked at it, was first looking at this, I wasn't like that big on Hoagie.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree.
I just never feel like I get a lot of upside out of him.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's there, but I don't ever feel like it's I'm going to get it when I play him.
Well, maybe you're the problem.
I could be. I could be the problem. I got a Hoagie problem.
Yeah. I love your Sam Ryder pick. I mean, God, the dude's just, he picked up right where he left off with the iron play after the summer and the FedEx St. Jude. I mean, 6.4 strokes gain with the irons at the Fortinet. It's unbelievable. He's normally a very good putter. We've kind of seen this, like, is this a pendulum swing where a guy who is really good at one thing and sucks at everything else, goes off and works on everything else, starts to get really good at it, and the thing that he was always really good at is kind of rusty. Like, that's a little bit about what we've seen with Sam Ryder the last few events, but I really like his, what he's doing from a ball striking standpoint. I think Ryder's going to be one of the more popular plays in this range for sure. So we'll see how it checks out. But I'm kind of thinking that the possible pivots could be Hubbard, because I think he's honestly a little overpriced. But sometimes that's how we pivot, is we pay up for guys. I think he's a little overpriced even in this field. KH Lee's a possible pivot. I think Ben Griffin's going to be a pivot, and I know my boy Luke List. I'm going to play Luke List. Spaz says 19 under winning score, and DB wants to play Luke List. Well, I get that. I get that. I mean, Torrey Pines wasn't 19 under, that's for sure. But with the putter coming around, like I said, with the putter coming around, with it trend, if we were just looking at standard Luke List, like ball striking was always good and standard Luke List, but losing 3.5 shots on the greens, that would be one thing. But with the trend, the 3 or 4 tournament trend looking up a little bit, I'm willing to buy in a little bit, especially if he's low owned. I'm willing to buy in a little bit and see if it's still there, because it doesn't take him much, and he's going to gain. He's going to eat on these par fives.
Okay. What do we do with Davis Thompson? I feel like he is one too that I always start to. Davis Thompson may be becoming my Luke List. Like he could be gradually coming that way. I mean, you look at his stats recently. He's gained strokes off the tee in his last 5 events. He's had basically 4 top 30s in his last 5 events. I think one of those was 31st. He's second in this field in par 5 scoring. I mentioned off the tee, he's top 20 there. The dude can score.
Yeah.
So I feel like Davis Thompson could be another one that's potentially low owned that we should look at.
If he is, I think I could be talked into it. I think you're right. You get him on Bermuda where he's more comfortable. I don't mind it. He did fire our boy Dean, so he's got a caddy change. But he did go to Joe Etter, who was Patton Kizzaire's former caddy. He knows Joe Etter from the Sea Island Mafia, so it's not like a totally new guy. No rapport, new budding relationship on the bag. He knows Joe. So I like that. And sometimes a change is what the guy needs. Sometimes it's not, and they do it anyway, and I think it's dumb, but who knows? So I agree with you. I think the AK range is kind of that is Pivottsville right there. I think I'm hoping that it turns into the place to go. If you're looking for a good pivot, you go there this week. We'll see. All right, 7K range. Did I say cash? Oh, yeah, Sam Ryder. 7K range, obviously a ton of options here. I think in cash, just to start there, it's either Grayson Sigg or D Woo for me. I think you play either one of them, play both of them. I love them both. Can't argue with how either one of them are playing. The fade for me in this range is the defending champion, Mackenzie Hughes, on principle, because I think he's trash, and I think he sucks. So add into that.
I feel like you have something against him for no reason at all.
No, I do have a reason. The reason is he sucks. That's the reason. So
he's won more golf tournaments than Bo Hostler.
This is true. This is true. I mean, he had a world-class day for him when it comes to approach play. Let's just look at it, Pat. Let's see. Oh, this is fun. He has 182 logged strokes gained events in his career. 182. That's a lot. That's a lot, Pat.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think his strokes gained approach performance at the 2022 Sanderson Farms ranked in those 182 events?
Well, he gained 5.3 strokes in that event.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just scan through,
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anything close to that. And he's typically not even gaining strokes on approach for the most part. So that's got to be up there as like number one.
He has logged tournaments back to 2012. 2012.
Oh, the RSM Classic in 21, he gained 6.3. So that would have been higher.
That's number one. That is 6.3 is higher.
Number one. He finished second, but he has won that tournament too.
It is higher than 5.3. Yes. It is his 4th highest finish, just barely, to the Barbasol at 5.5. Tough field there. And the John Deere at 5.8. So, listen, is his body of work and the finishes and the experience on the PGA Tour way better and above the baseline of this garbage field? Yes, it is. And maybe if you want to award points for that, be my guest. I am happy to avoid him every day of the week unless we get a new Mackenzie Hughes who has learned how to hit his irons, which is very critical to success on the PGA Tour. So I'm out.
I'm out too. I was just, I mean,
Yeah,
I just
I knew you were out. You don't want that smoke either, dude.
No, I don't want
Nobody
any part
wants
of him. I'm trying to figure out who I would play in cash though.
Oh,
Did you say Sig for
it's
you?
Sig and Dwoo, 75 and
Yeah,
7,600.
probably definitely D-Woo for me.
Where do we think? Who do we think is going to be popular? Obviously, it's going to be Dwoo. Dwoo is popular. I think Sig's going to get a little love. I could.
I think Akshay's going to be popular.
You think so?
People love some Akshay.
I think they did not like the miscut at the Fortinet because he was, if I remember correctly, he was high owned at the Fortinet. People didn't love that. But yeah, I mean,
Will Peter Quest?
no, no. People are. I like Peter Quest a lot usually, but I don't think as many people believe in Peter Quest.
I don't see a ton of chalk down here, to be honest. I think Carson Young is going. There's going to be a lot of people because
He will be a popular
if
play
you,
down there.
yeah, if you're trying to fit in some of those higher price guys like a Obear,
Yep.
you're gonna look at Carson
And I
Young
like him.
almost immediately.
I like him. Can I give you a
Yeah.
pivot though, right there next to Carson Young? If you're like, gosh, Carson Young,
Hmm.
really at 14%?
You like some MJ,
I
don't
think
you?
we give MJ Duffy a run.
Duffy. He's another one whose name I never get right. I want to say Defoe.
You want to make him foreign or something?
I don't. Yeah.
MJ Duffy.
Mhm.
Duffy. If you were like German or French, maybe.
That's like the skunk.
Pepe Le Pew.
Pepe Le Pew.
There are people listening to this that have no idea what that is. They're too young. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe our listeners are getting older, like us. Dude, listen.
You know who that is, don't
Yeah,
you?
Pepe Le Pew, the cartoon skunk, the Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was always after the ladies.
no, I know. He loved them. He loved some ladies. What was the female skunk's name? Daphne.
Who would you think would be the Pepe Le Pew of the golf?
We already know. I told you. Oh! You talking about from the lady side or from the being stinky side?
No. I'm just talking about like who would act like Pepe around the ladies.
Oh, okay. Because we know who the two smelliest guys are on the PGA Tour. We were told that in Chicago.
Yeah.
Like literally smelliest. But the most Pepe Le Pew. Boy, I don't know. It'd have to be I mean, you have to make it someone from another country just because Pepe Le Pew was French and that's how that would go. So,
Adrian Moronk.
no, Adrian Moronk has already far outkicked his coverage. So he needs to do everything he can to hold on to what he's got because he has a rocket. Have you not looked that up?
No, I need to.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Actually, before you do it, refresh your brain on what Adrian Moronk looks like. Just do that first.
Okay.
And find an image. See if you can find an image of Adrian Moronk with no hat and no sunglasses on. I want you to make sure you see the whole thing.
Are you saying he wears a disguise?
I'm just saying I want you to fully see what she sees when she like rolls over in the morning, and it's Adrian Moronk, so that you can understand by how much he is outkicking his coverage, and then you can look up her.
Okay.
Yeah. It would have been the equivalent of back a couple years ago when Phil won the PGA, when like Kevin Streelman was about to win the PGA, and we had the picture of Kevin Streelman holding the PGA Championship trophy. It would have been like he would have been Kevin Streelman and she was the PGA Championship trophy.
Is Grillo married? I could feel.
Yes.
I could see Emiliano being like very much like Pepe.
Exact same activity. Do it with Emiliano Grillo. Exactly the same activity. Do the same thing.
I know he's Okay.
Same thing. Absolute rocket town.
Okay, well, I'm running out of names.
I like MJ. He finished 12th at the Sanderson a couple years ago. Bombs it, putts it. I don't mind him. Other pivots. I can't believe you haven't said Novak yet. Right? We're going to do Novak again, right?
He has been one I've looked at.
Right there near Carson Young. They're another pivot near Carson Young. I do like Carson Young. Don't get me wrong. I hope he comes in a little bit under the radar, but he won't.
I still, if I'm going to sit there and say on the betting side that Robbie Shelton's a top 20 play for me, then I've got to bet him or play him here in DFS. So I would say
Godspeed. Yeah, Godspeed. I think I'm about to be back in on. It's about to be DB Callum Tarrant season again. Yeah. I'm already back. Just he's brought me right back with the 13th at the 3M, a 7th at the Fortinet. Now I'm back into believing, baby. I think I'm probably about to get back on the Robbie or Callum Tarrant train. He's got one top 20 here. T13 last year. T7 at the Fortinet. I will say that, like, when it comes to these guys in the low 7s and 6K, I would prefer a guy who played the Fortinet, just because, like, and hopefully played well at the Fortinet. Just because at least at that point, there's already so many questions to be answered down here with these guys. But at least at that point, I have the question answered of, has this guy done anything to improve his golf game competitively since last seen at the probably Wyndham? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you could pick a lot of names down here and just be like, oh, well, yeah, I don't know. Like, have we seen, did Scott Stallings play the Fortinet? I think he did. Oh, yeah, he did. I don't know. Somebody who didn't play it.
Yeah, I don't know if he did or not.
He did. Okay. I just looked at it. All right, 6K draft. I'll start.
This is going to be fun.
Jason Duffner. Dude, I mean, and honestly, if we were drafting a team, like legit drafting a team, he would have been my first round pick. 6,500. I buy the floor of Jason Duffner.
Okay. All right.
Also finished, like I said, T19 at the Fortinet.
Oh, let's see. I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna go with Charlie Hoffman, 6,800.
I don't hate it.
I like Hoffman. He's got a good history here. He did miss a cut at the Fortinet, but had that T12 at the Wyndham. Started showing a few signs of some success. So I like Hoffman.
I liked him at the Fortinet too. That miscut, I think, got me on a couple lineups. But I mean, at least he's at least pegged it. Took the rust off a little bit. Here's a name I don't know that I've ever selected, Pat. Ever. Even back in like 2015, 16, when he was, I think, kind of a thing. But he's played here 4 times. His best finish was in 2015. Finished 33rd. Made the cut again in 2020. He's coming off a T25 at the Fortinet, a T33 at the Wyndham. Kelly Craft.
Okay.
Our boy Josh Gregory loves him. Working with Kelly Craft. I think he may also be working with Scott Hamilton. But T25 at the Fortinet to start things off, gain strokes in every single category. You're not going to be able to find a whole lot of players in the 6K range who played the Fortinet and gained strokes in every category. And he's going to be like 2% at the most, 3% at the most, maybe. 6,600.
Okay. All right. I will go with I'm tempted by Schwab.
Yeah. Let's do it.
We'll go Schwab. Yeah.
I thought you were going to do that, by the way.
6,500. Where was he? Oh, yeah. He was T11 at the Fortinet. I like that, too. So we'll go with Schwab.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hell yeah. I think I'm going to go. I got to shout out our boy Chris Hartz in the Discord. He He nailed a couple of guys this morning that he was asking me about that are just kind of usually I kind of feel it in my plums guys, plums plays, as Spaz likes to call it. And I don't have a ton of logic for him other than, he's had a few good finishes, but Harry Hall at 6,900. I think I'll take a little Harry Hall. It was ugly at the Fortinet, but his putter saved him as it a lot of times does. But he hits it far enough. Doesn't hit a lot of fairways, but short game's good. Irons can be real spotty, but we've at least seen some peak finishes out of him at events like at Colonial, Charles Schwab, Mexico, Corrales, Puerto Rico, similar fields there too. Shriners last year. So I'll go Harry Hall.
Okay. Man, there is such crap down here. It's so hard. Like, even just trying to find guys in here that made the cut at the Fortinet. So you gotta get a little outside the box on some of these guys. Yeah. Man, what if I went Snedeker?
God, I didn't even know he's in the field.
He is. He played well at Fortinet, I think, for a little bit. Maybe he ended up missing the cut.
I don't see.
He was one that was playing well, and I was like, I didn't know he was in the field. No, he didn't play. He played the Wyndham and the 3M and made the cut in both of them. Has not played yet.
It's all short game. All short game.
Yeah.
Which is basically all he's. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's the 6K range. You do you.
I'm going to go with Sneds. I'll go with Sneds here.
Okay. All right, good stuff. Good show. We knocked it out in an hour, 6 minutes. Betting show, DFS show. Don't forget to get in that SoBet contest. Come see us. Come hang out in April. Click the link in the description. And check out the Ryder Cup recap if you want. We're going to do some fun stuff with the Ryder Cup recap. We're trying to get a little off the beaten path with that so that if you've already listened to other big media outlets do a Ryder Cup recap, ours might be a little different, a little more zany, a little more out there. We've got some good stuff planned for that, as well as member guest recap. Thank you to everybody. We're back at it. Regularly scheduled programming for us this week, next week, and the following week. 3 PGA Tour events in a row coming up. Pumped about it. Let's hit some winners and bend over your bookie, and may your screens be green.